Hello, I'm Jenny Tucker, and I'm going to be presenting your first affirmative constructive case. This is a comparative advantage style case, and I stand resolved that the United States federal government should raise the minimum wage. A mother wears a fake smile as she steps into her small house. Her two children greet her eagerly, and the mother hands them their meal for tonight, the same one they have been eating for the past week. She longs to buy healthier food, but it is too expensive. This is the reality for millions of Americans who are constantly struggling to provide for themselves and their families due to a saddeningly low minimum wage. All it takes is to modify one law to make the well-being of these millions of people more secure. Plan. I have 3 mandates. Mandate 1. Mandate that all states utilize the same minimum wage as the federal government. As of the status quo, they do not. Mandate 2. Increase the minimum wage to $13 per hour through the United States Department of the Treasury. Mandate 3. Enforce the increased minimum wage in each state with regulations determined by the Revenue and Spending Independent Regulatory Commission. The agency is the United States Congress and the executive branch. The enforcement shall be through the Department of the Treasury and Revenue and Spending Independent Regulatory Commission. And the funding shall be through income that is already used by the Revenue and Spending Independent Regulatory Commission. Here are our advantages. Advantage 1. Benefits several aspects of the economy. Subpoint A. Significance. Raising the wage benefits people, economy, and businesses. This is written by Pramuk Jacob, a CNBC staff reporter. The U.S. base pay last rose in 2009. Labor activists argue pay has failed to keep up with the cost of living. The U.S. minimum wage hit its high in 1968 at $11.83 per hour in 2018 and has not approached that level in decades. Raising the minimum wage is not only good for workers, it is good for businesses and good for the economy. When we put money in the pockets of American workers, they will spend that money in their communities. This bill is a stimulus for Main Street America. Representative Bobby Scott, a Virginia Democrat who's a co-sponsor of the bill and chairman of the House Education and Labor Committee, said in a statement Wednesday. The Democratic plan would index the pay floor to median wage growth after its rises to $15 per hour in 2024 to ensure it does not lag again. Lawmakers cite research from the left-leaning Economic Policy Institute. Subpoint B. Solvency/workability. Higher wages solve America's problems. This is written by Jonathan Tassini, an activist and writer. Raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour would put thousands of dollars a year more in the pockets of 41 million adults, according to an Economic Policy Institute analysis. Setting a 5-year goal of bolstering the private sector national unionization rate would kickstart wages and improve growth. Millions of people want to be in a union, but aggressive corporate opposition has driven union density in the private sector down close to 5%, the lowest rate in close to 100 years. The debate over economic growth, then, should really rest on 3 simple ideas. We have plenty of money and the richest nation in human history. We should not cut taxes if we want to have a society that works. We should make sure that everyone gets a decent paycheck. Subpoint C. Impact. Vast positive effects of raising the minimum wages. This is written by John Yarmouth and 4 other officers, who are 5 representatives from the House Budget Committee. They have a plan for increasing the minimum wage right here. 3. Increasing the minimum wage would give a raise to millions of workers and lift many Americans out of poverty. 4. Minimum wage workers bring home a large portion of their family's total income. 5. A higher minimum wage would put more money in the pockets of individuals who are likely to spend additional income. This would help expand the economy and create jobs. 6. In part because of this effect, recent studies have indicated that increases in the minimum wage do not adversely impact job creation as much as had been previously thought, and that modest increases in the minimum wage may actually create jobs. 7. A higher minimum wage will reduce government spending on Medicaid, public housing, nutrition assistance, and other income support programs that provide assistance to minimum wage workers. Advantage 2. Poverty prevention. Subpoint A. Significance. Unfair wages are causing detrimental poverty. Written by Donald Norcross, a United States representative. Leaders in the House and Senate haven't acted to raise the federal minimum wage in over 11 years, and it's stuck at $7.25 an hour. That leaves Americans who work full-time living in poverty. full-time. These families come up thousands of dollars short each month just trying to meet basic living standards. I've met with thousands of low-wage workers who tell me about the heartbreaking choices they've had to make. Medicine or meals, school books or bills. Those questions shouldn't be a reality, not for Americans with a full-time job. That does not reflect our country's values. It's illogical that our nation's workers are more productive than ever but aren't being rewarded for it. Workers are struggling with high healthcare costs, expensive prescription drugs, and worries about whether or not they'll be able to retire with dignity. The sad truth is, business profits are all going to CEO bonuses and offshore accounts instead of actual paychecks. Subpoint B, solvency and workability. Raising the wage reduces poverty, written by Noah Smith, an assistant professor of finance. Lackluster wage growth created a culture of helplessness among workers, a culture that minimum wage increases could help to change. In addition, there's a strong possibility that a higher minimum wage will raise incomes for many of the people who need it most. The latest research is encouraging. A recent study by economist Arjun Dueb finds that a 10% increase in the minimum wage will tend to increase incomes for the poorest 15% of families by about 3.3% after 3 years, while cutting their poverty rate substantially. Subpoint C, impact. Raising the wage helps purchasing power and poverty line. This is written by Bryce Covert, an independent journalist. The demand for a $15 wage floor is not arbitrary, or a $13 one. At that level, the minimum wage is as valuable today in terms of purchasing power as it was in 1968. According to a 2017 analysis by the Economic Policy Institute, a $13 federal minimum wage would directly raise pay for 22.5 million people, giving them an extra $5,100 in annual income on average. Another 19 million people would also likely benefit as employers raised pay for workers making just over $13 an hour. And research has generally found that minimum wage increases doesn't lead to mass layoffs as employers adjust to a new pay floor. One study looking at 138 increases between 1979 and 2016 found that the number of low-wage jobs was left basically unchanged. Other research, especially the highest quality studies, has similarly found no net impact on jobs. On the other hand, research does show that increases in the minimum wage are effective at lowering the poverty rate. So raising the minimum wage does not take away jobs or hurt the economy. Rather, it helps millions of American citizens rise above the poverty line. And what is more important to you? The continued flourishing of already oversaturated corporations or the well-being of hardworking people like you and I? Thank you.